All right, Craig. Here we are. Guess I should update the J bar. People get on me. At this point, it's hard to keep up with the score. Let's see. 1 for
it's six to 1.
And 6 for the other. There you go. Yep. Hopefully everybody's satisfied now.
Hope everybody's happy with that update.
Yeah. If you've watched this game, you can't be too pleased. At this point, Craig, I don't know what we're supposed to do on these shows. I really don't. And I well understood the deal when we signed up to do all of them. You know that there was a chance that this would happen from time to time, but for the life of me, I just want there to be a different storyline. It can't be the same story every single day, because then it just becomes impossible to do this show. I need somebody to do something different at the plate. Just do something. It's the same song and dance night in and night out. And yeah, I don't give a damn that they're losing 6-1. I don't care. I'm selfish enough to say I want a different story. I just want something else to be the case. I don't know. Let's score 10 runs and give up 12. We can complain about the pitchers. I'll complain about anybody. But it's the same song and dance. That's all I got for today. I mean, that for me, that might be the show. I'll do my best to speak about something else, but maybe Nick will come in here and save the day. But right now, I just what's the last day of the season? September 28th or whatever it was. It can't come soon enough.
Trace getting worked up before the show even officially starts. I love it. Listen. There's some bright spots. Jakob Junis, obviously one of them.
Yeah.
Carson Spires, on the other hand, he's moving in the wrong direction. But the Reds don't have a whole lot of options right now, unfortunately. And I think, like you said, it's just one of those things where you got to kind of grin it and bear it for the rest of the season and hope that 2025 works out better, because this has been a frustrating day for sure.
I mean,
and you add in the hurricane that I'm living through right now, Trace, and it's just
is that on top of you right now?
Yeah, right now, just nonstop, been pouring all day.
I'm trying to figure out if that's going to be is that going to be in Cincinnati by tomorrow is the question. Figure that out. Don't know.
Good question. The radar says it's just going to sit right on top of me for the next 8 hours, so that's going to be a ton of fun.
Well, that's not good.
They're saying we could get 4 to 5 inches of rain.
I'm going to keep up with it. Why not?
Did we score? Oh.
No, he got to go.
Just a runner on second?
Yeah. I don't want to get your hopes up.
JC Romero just throwing one straight to the backstop. Man, I like Ty France. I know he got out there, but I like Ty France.
Yeah, he actually looks like a major league player most of the time. Unlike the rest of these guys.
We don't have a lot of those, so he really stands out on this ball club.
He does.
It's so sad.
I mean, it's just 2 outs, man on second base. Show should be beginning relatively soon because Jake Fraley's facing a left-handed pitcher. Just telling the truth.
Hey.
I'm going to cue it
That's
up.
what we're here to do.
Ready.
We're here to tell the story, you know?
I'll cue it up. Should be no time at all. Tell you what, St. Louis's crowd, they gave it up. They gave up too. Yeah, that'll do it. All right.
Game.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the wall, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Cardinals, Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, it is another edition of Chatterbox Reds. This one is a businessman special on the eve of what essentially was a nightcap loss, and they followed up today with another loss. Craig, I was obviously saying right before the show started that it's just incredibly frustrating that we continue to try to do these shows, certainly during a time in which the season's over, but more or less the narrative and the storyline and the topics or the talking points, whatever term you want to come up with, they don't change. It's the same song and dance. And at this point, I got to be honest, I'm not usually at a loss for words, but I am at a loss for words at this moment. We'll do our best for the next however long it's going to take to do this show. But I don't want to say I don't know where to start, but I really genuinely don't know exactly where to start with this whole thing.
Well, I think you start with inconsistencies, and that's been the Red story all season long. You know, they go and they win 4 straight games coming into the series, you know, and then drop the last 2. And, you know, it just hasn't been good enough all season long. And part of it certainly due to injuries, and part of it certainly due to guys who just can't consistently put together major league at bats. And it just over and over the same thing. And, you know, some feel-good stories lose their luster by the end of the season. Carson Spires, we'll talk about today, certainly one of them. And when you ask guys who aren't necessarily part of your plan to have to step in and be part of that plan, it's just bound to be set up for disappointment. And quite frankly, I think that's the word for this Red season, is a disappointment.
100%. Sparky Anderson obviously said it best. If you play a bench player long enough, you'll realize, you'll figure out why they were on the bench. I think we've come up with the solution now at this point as to why some guys are undrafted free agents, why some guys have been picked up off waivers. There's a reason for all of it, and we are witnesses to it for the last whatever remaining days it is of the season for the Cincinnati Reds. Nick, fortunately, was going to be able to go and watch some meaningful baseball tonight up in I guess it's Lake County. I'd assume Lake County Captains. It's got to be in Lake County, but somewhere up near Cleveland in his neck of the woods. So he'll be there. I don't know if he's joining us or not, but if he does join us, it'll be maybe towards the end here as we kind of progress through the show. But, you know, I would just start here. We'll do the box score recap if you have one. If you don't, we can run through a quick summary. We obviously have DSC, even though we don't have a deep drive of the day, but we'll shout them out as always. Craig, before we get going, you got any notes? Hopefully you don't have like a masterpiece over there, but
I've got a little box score recap ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
As always, the box score recap, Trace, presented by Nicholas Kirby.
And it is
Watch the rubber. Yeah. The rubber. Oh man. For those of you listening on the podcast on Friday morning, Trace just put up a slide with the box score with 0 on it. So here we go. The rubber match of the series in St. Louis saw Jakob Junis taking the mound for the Reds, going up against Sonny Gray and the Cardinals. The Reds and the Cardinals both get through the order the first time without much action, but Masyn Winn starts the second time through the order for the Cardinals with a home run to left field in the bottom of the third to give the Cardinals a 1-0 lead. Sonny Gray held the Reds hitless through the first 5 innings before Jake Fraley led off the 6th with a single through the right side. After a walk to Santiago Espinal, Jonathan India drives in Fraley with a single through the left side to tie the game at 1. Carson Spires came in for the 6th inning and gave up a bunt single to Masyn Winn to start the inning. Burleson then singled, and then after a Goldschmidt strikeout, Nolan Arenado walked to load the bases. A Lars Nootbaar sacrifice fly gave the Cardinals a 2-1 lead before Spires escaped the inning without further damage. Thomas Saggese led off the 7th with his first career base hit. It was followed by a 2-run blast by Brendan Donovan, and just like that, the Cardinals led 4-1. The Cardinals would add an insurance run in the 8th after a ground rule double from Lars Nootbaar and an RBI single by Saggese. Spires would load the bases, forcing David Bell to bring in Casey Legamino with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. An Elly De La Cruz error allowed the Cardinals to score again, making it 6-1, and that's where it would stay. The Reds dropped the series to the Cardinals. Jakob Junis, positive side, goes 5 innings with only 3 hits and 1 earned run. Carson Spires, on the other hand, 2 2/3, 7 hits, 3 walks, 5 runs, 4 of which were earned. The Reds only muster 4 hits on the day and fall to 72 and 76.
The deep drive of the day. Well, you're looking at it. It was hit far. It was hit long. And there wasn't one hit at all. DSC, though, they are a leader. I just want everybody to know they are a leader. And we appreciate them for supporting this show. Sometimes, you know, I don't know what to make of that in regards to, you know, you thought you were going to provide them with a good thing, you know, like, hey, we're going to do a deep drive of the day. We're going to get people fired up. You know, it's going to be playoff baseball, and somebody hits a home run to help them win the game. We can bring it up, and we can all reminisce about how great it was. Well, that's just not what it is right now. So at some point, I think that'll be the case, but today's not that day. So shout out to DSC. They are a leader in renewable commodities, specializing in biofuels, used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.dsc or www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information, and shout out to DSC. So thank you to John and his team. A little all over the place. I was at an event earlier today, as you can tell. A little. I gotta start thinking about like the sun. You know, it's not sun. I look like I'm wearing a red hat, and I'm not wearing a red hat. So you can on the podcast figure out what that means. But anyway, we'll start with the pitchers. Junis, good start. I mean, what else can you say about a guy that came over here? The Montas deal. Like I said before, Weimer's going to be the guy that everybody's going to remember that deal for, probably, but maybe Junis is a guy that kind of makes it, no matter what happens with Weimer, kind of worth it in the end. They have to eat up innings, and unfortunately, Spires got the other end of that stick, I will also say, because I don't think that they're going to leave him in the game, Craig, in the situation that they did, other than somebody's got to have to throw. I mean, you have to get outs in baseball. You can't let the time run out. And unfortunately for Spires, you had brought this up. I think that the glass slipper, I guess, doesn't fit anymore a little bit. That's kind of where we're at. It feels like the Cinderella run is starting to showcase itself to being over. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that, but that's kind of where we're at with the Reds staff as a whole.
Well, let's start with the positive. And the positive, obviously, Jakob Junis, again, today he goes 5 innings. Only 3 hits, gives up the 1 earned run. I mean, ever since he came over, he's been really good for the Reds. He came over, obviously, on July 30th in that trade for Frankie Montas. And coming into today, in 11 outings with the Reds, he had a 3.24 ERA over 25 innings pitched. In his last 9 appearances, 1.23 ERA, 22 innings pitched, 10 hits, 3 runs. Only walked 1 during that time period as well. So, you know, he's been really good and a really strong pickup. And now that he's starting, I feel like he's filling that role that many were kind of disappointed that we let Frankie Montas go. He's filled in really nicely, and he's looked really good over the last 2 starts now. Last time out against the Mets, he goes 5 innings, only gives up 1 hit. He was perfect through the first 4 of that. So now his last 2 starts, 10 innings pitched, only 4 hits and the 1 run. So, I mean, you're getting everything you can out of Jakob Junis. He's a guy who's, quite frankly, kind of in a little bit of a audition mode for what his future looks like. And he's taking advantage of it, even though the Reds as a whole, not necessarily looking too good. Jakob Junis, a definite shining star right now in terms of being able to pick up the workload. And it's kind of interesting that you've got Junis and you've got Nick Martinez, two guys who, were brought on this team to have flexibility, and both of them are kind of shining in this starting rotation for them right now.
Yeah, I would say he's a star in the role that the Reds are asking him to be in right now. Outside of the usage of star, I think that's where my verbiage is going to stop. With all respect to Jakob Junis, shout out to the unique spelling of Jacob as well, Jakob. So shout out to his parents for being very, very creative there. As far as kind of where the Reds stand, I think we can all agree that it's just more or less going through the motions for the most part at this point for the vast majority of these players. There's only a handful of guys that I would like to see some more from. Brandon Williamson's one guy. Hunter Green, I hope I get to see him throw a couple more times just to kind of see how that looks after his little stint there with the elbow. But for the most part, everybody else, I'll give you one more guy as we move through this. That before we jump into the sponsors, is TJ Friedl. I know that he gets a pass a lot right now, but it's like I kind of at some point, and I know he got a hit there at the end. It was a flare, and I'm thankful he got the hit, and that's all well and good. But he's gonna have to play better, and I'm not gonna sit here and overreact and hopefully say that I don't believe in him anymore. But it's another question mark in what is a roster full of them heading into next season. There is not a lot of players that we feel good about heading into next season, or at least I don't feel good about heading into next season as someone that we can consistently rely on, which makes me jump into essentially what this offense has become. It's become consistently inconsistent, and that is there's not really any kind of fluidity to this team like there was last year. It just felt like last year they were able to string hits together. They were able to find good at bat after good at bat after good at bat, and they were able to essentially, no matter what the score was in the game, you always felt like they had a puncher's chance last year. You just did. Now, maybe that was just because we were caught up in the moment, and we were fans, and we had all these young players, and we were just kind of, maybe we were overlooking things. But I just don't feel that way. I feel like they had a much, much better consistent lineup. And I don't want to put too much pressure on Matt McLain, but it just feels like, even from the start, that this was never any resemblance of the team in 2023. Not a single time this year did I think we might be like back in regards to the fact of what we'd seen the previous season. Not a single time. And I guess the only really missing piece to that whole puzzle, for the most part, has been Matt McLain. And I don't want to put that much pressure on him. But I need a consistent bat in the lineup. And I know Nick mentions the starting pitching. He's not sure if they're going to go get any. It almost feels like they need one guy that's going to eat up a lot of innings, Craig, and they need one guy that's going to be a damn good above average hitter.
I mean, I might argue that they need a couple above average hitters, to be honest. Look, I think this team is filled with what ifs and what might be's. And, I think ultimately with the way that this front office operates, for the most part, relying on prospects and growing from within, I think that's going to be the MO for years to come. I mean, we talk a lot about the injuries that this team faced all season long. And I know we're off topic a little bit in terms of talking about the pitching specifically, but you've got multiple guys on the injury list right now who were expected to be in your starting pitching rotation. Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott, Nick Lodolo, all of them on the IL right now. Christian Roa, who may have been one of the next guys up. And then offensively, same thing. Matt McLain hasn't played this year. Jeimer Candelario, even though he played for the first half of the year, I'm not really sure how healthy he was for most of the season. Nick Martini has been largely out of the lineup for the last 3 months. Christian Encarnacion Strand, obviously, not part of it. Stuart Fairchild out for the last month or 3 weeks. So it's just like, ultimately, for a team who is built around prospects and trying to have depth, the depth is certainly not showing itself this year. And it makes you wonder how much the Reds should or could rely on that depth moving forward, and how much they should really be focused on spending a little money and going out and getting some of those reliable bats that you're talking about. And, certainly there were guys this offseason that a lot of people thought that the Reds could go after. They decided to go after Jeimer Candelario because they like his flexibility defensively. And it turns out to be terrible defensively no matter where you put him, right? So, to your point, it's been a season of inconsistencies largely driven by depth pieces that the Reds hoped could fill in where needed that just haven't been able to wear the glass slipper long enough. You have guys like Rhys Hines who come in and set the world on fire for a week or so and then can't hit the broadside of the barn after that. So it is what it is with this team. I don't think we can really reiterate this over and over again every single show, but again, to that point and to the glass slipper point, you talk about a guy.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Well, I was just going to say, we talk about the glass slipper and how, for Rhys Hines, it lasted for a week. For Carson Spires, the Reds got really lucky. It lasted for a couple of months. He had his first 12 appearances this year, a 3.59 ERA over 57 2/3 innings pitched for Carson Spires. And then coming into today, his last 9 outings, an ERA over 9. And it very clearly that glass slipper has kind of worn off, and whether that's fatigue, whether that's scouting reports catching up to him, whether that's him, whatever it may be, I don't know. But the fact that the Reds are forced to continue to throw out guys like Carson Spires in long relief or featured relief appearances, it just isn't a recipe for success. And it's hard to say what they should do this offseason, knowing all the what ifs that they have on the injured list. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, how much can you really rely on these pieces versus going out and trying to get proven pieces to plug into this lineup and really take a shot at it?
Well, here's where we're at. Our AA teams is one of the worst teams that has played minor league baseball. Maybe not this season, maybe in the history of minor league baseball at the AA level. So there's that. Thankfully, that we actually have some younger crop of talent that I think is legit. Okay, I'll openly say I think that the younger crop of talent that we have is legit, and I'm excited that but again, out of this Dayton team that obviously has a plethora of guys, and out of this Daytona team who has a plethora of guys, you're only probably going to get a handful, 2 or 3 of those maybe at max. That is probably going to be significant enough to impact your team. Not to try to make this a too dark of a show. But as much as we want to get excited about certain things here and there, and Nick will come in here and he'll spice this up and shine a nice light on it here. The Reds ranked 14th in minor league baseball rankings in regards to their farm system. Let's not sit here and act like they're number 2 or something. There's holes that need to be filled, and they're going to have to go, in my opinion, Craig, I'm with you, I think a little bit more than some others. I think they're going to have to go out and try to spend some money, if we like it or not. And they're going to have to fill some holes because there needs to be a stopgap between essentially this young group of guys that is in Daytona and Dayton all the way to what we have now. And let's face it, we might love Cam Collier. We might love Jay Allen. We might love Sal Stewart. We might love Hector Rodriguez. We might love all these guys. But they're not going to be ready to help us in the relatively near future. That's 26, 27, 28. And there's nothing in between those guys from now until then, and so we can find a spot where we should be excited. So they're going to have to, as you've said, maybe they do need to go get two or 3 more guys. All right,
look real quick on that point, real quick, and shout out to our guy Bryce Spalding. He was on the show the other night. He pointed out on X.com the other day, and I think it's worth mentioning here in this conversation, the Reds only have $28.2 million in guaranteed salaries on the books for next year. They have 9 guys eligible for arbitration that are projected to make somewhere in the $25 to $28 million range, maybe a little bit more, depending on who you ask, right? So all in, let's say they have $65 million on the books for next year with those contracts. There is no reason that this team shouldn't be out there spending to bring in a quality bat and at least one quality starting arm to supplement this roster that they've built. I'm all in on the idea of the prospects and the young guys that they have on this team. I believe that they can be good, and I believe that they can be quality major leaguers. I don't think that you can rely on them to be everything, though. They have to supplement it with a couple other bats and with at least one other pitcher for the starting rotation. And then I might be happy with kind of where we're at as it is today. We can't just go into 2025 with the crop of guys that we have today and expect them to take a major jump up into being a playoff contender or more.
100%. We all know that if you don't believe that, then your head's completely in the sand. All right, we have a couple sponsors, obviously, that we want to get to, and then I have Where's Light. You know, today I was watching this game. Where is the light? I'll tell you where the light is just after this. The Game Time app, if you need to find tickets, maybe you're looking to go to a concert, and if you're looking to possibly go to another Reds game, you still got a chance. Or maybe you're looking to go to a Lake County Captains game. I don't know. It depends on where you live, where you want to go. I don't care where you live. You just download the Game Time app today. You can use the code CINCY, CINCY. You'll get $20 off your first purchase, and you can 2 clicks, lightning deals, Major League Baseball partner, all the things that you would like and know and trust. First of all, if you're watching our show and we're promoting these guys and we genuinely use the product, then hopefully you would trust us enough to download it. Use the Game Time app, download. If you download it, you can use the code CINCY, CINCY. You get $20 off your first purchase. And as always, shout out to mantherapy.org on times like today. You know, you might need it, you know. mantherapy.org. All right, where's the light? I'll tell you where the light is. Here's the light. I don't know if there's any light to be shined on the situation that is at hand for the Major League Baseball club, which is why I guess at this point we're just going to have to go to the minor league system, which here we are, better than ever. Now, I want to let you know, Craig, and the viewers know, that Nick Kirby has been trying to figure out the framing and the picture and where he wants to stand in this press box for the last 20 minutes. Are you happy, Nick? Do you feel good about where you're at?
I'm incredible. I was able to put the cell phone on top of a temperature gauge.
Nice. They call that a thermostat, Nick. They call that a thermostat. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
So what's going on? Can we get that second base icon off of the J-bar?
Oh, really? Yeah. No problem. Well, I left it on there because, you know, we don't always get guys on base. So I think we ought to load the bases up, make everybody feel even better. But just for you, Nick, here, there you go. How about that?
Thank you.
Nick,
Thank you.
Nick, we're talking about where's the light. And I realize that you're currently at a playoff game, so you can shed some light on what you're seeing out of some of these guys. But the light trace comes in 2026. Here's the list of guys who haven't made their major league debut yet that are scheduled to debut by 2026. Carlos Jorge, Zach Maxwell, Chase Burns, Edwin Arroyo, Sal Stewart, Cam Collier, Hector Rodriguez, Ty Floyd, and Leo Balcazar, all projected, quote unquote, to make their major league debut in the next 2 years. So
in 2026,
throw in by 2026. Some of those guys are 2025. Some of them are 2026. Obviously, a lot of things changed. I don't think anybody really expected Blake Dunn to make his major league debut this year. There's a couple.
How many guys was that
projected to make the debut this year?
Count
a
them
lot,
up real fast. Let's
multiple.
Count them up.
All right.
I know this is riveting
1,
podcasting.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 guys.
9 guys. I'll make you guys a deal. I'll make you a
debut.
deal. I'll make you a deal right now. Ready? I'll give you both. I'll give you both $500. Okay. If you can name me, I won't make you listen. Less than half of these 9 guys. You name 4 guys, and if 4 of them make the major leagues, I'll give you $500 a piece. You pick any 4 guys out of the 9. 2026.
Did you even say Cam Collier, Sal Stewart, Ethan O'Donnell?
Yeah, I said those guys. I said Cam. I said Sal. Ethan O'Donnell not currently projected to make his debut, and also, apparently also not in their top 30 prospects, which is what I'm looking at. So maybe there's other guys, but
okay. Before we ask you about Lake County Captains versus the Dayton Dragons tonight, this is the question I have to both of you. 4 players out of the 9 right there that make the major leagues by 2026. I want you to name them. If you get them all right, you both get $500.
We got one easy one, and that's Zach Maxwell. I think we can both agree on that one. If he's not making his major league debut next year, I'll be shocked.
Are you co-signing on that? Are you co-signing on that, Nick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, unless the guy
So
blows
Zach,
his arm
Zach
out.
Mac, right? Yeah, injuries, you never know, but that's the game, right? So Zach Maxwell, I think, is a lock, quote unquote lock. Okay.
Yep.
Where do you want to go from there, Nick?
Cam Collier,
Chase
Sal
Burns?
Stewart, Burns. I mean, that's the easiest 4 I've ever had. I mean, you might as well pay me now.
2026? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, Cam Collier.
I mean, I got
Yep.
the September 2026 counts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel pretty good about those 4.
Zach Maxwell, Cam Collier.
Sal Stewart,
and
and Burns.
Chase Burns.
Okay. All right, we'll see.
There you go.
The heat is on.
That's the easiest and the first $500 I've made from Chatterbox Reds. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Tell my wife to start filling up the Amazon cart.
We'll keep doing it. All right. On a more serious note,
finally going to make something off of this show after 2 years.
You're standing there, obviously in the press box there. You big journalist. You are there. I assume whatever the name of the field is there in Lake County. Look at that. I mean, who knew? But my question to you, Nick, is obviously it's been a disappointing season at the major league level. We've talked significantly about the minor league system. You're at a game tonight that features a significant amount of players. Most guys know the top level players that play for the Dragons, the Cam Colliers of the world. But do you have, I guess, to shine a light on some folks that might want to live stream this game tonight, watch it on MILB? Do you have someone else in mind that they can kind of keep an eye on, or something that you are excited to watch here on tonight's playoff game?
Yeah, there's I think 3 other really good hitters other than Collier. Hector Rodriguez led the Midwest League in hits this year by quite a big gap. I think he had like 8 more hits than anyone else. And then Leo Balcazar and Ethan O'Donnell, both of those guys, since about the beginning of August, absolutely were on a tear. Both of those guys were top 30 Reds prospects. The midseason update game, they had terrible first half. They fell off. And then ever since then, they've been absolutely on fire. So both those guys are really good players. Ethan O'Donnell has really sneaky speed, a 6th-round pick out of Virginia. And then Leo Balcazar was a guy that everyone really loved, but he, I think, tore his ACL, kind of pushed him back, but he's been playing really well of late. So those guys are really good. Tonight, it's a tough one for the Dragons. The captain starter has an ERA in the 2s, really good. Dragons kind of throwing a guy who's kind of had some good starts as a bad this year, but I have breaking news, sort of. If we go to a game 3 tomorrow, Nestor Laurent will start for the Dragons, the guy that I think might be the Reds minor league pitcher of the year. It was in Daytona at the beginning of the year, absolutely dominated, had the best ERA in minor league baseball at one point this season. So the captains would kind of be throwing more of a put-together game in game 3. So if the Dragons can find a way to steal a game tonight, they got a good chance tomorrow.
Are you saying that the captains will be throwing a guy like Derek Law ish type tomorrow, just like an opener, and they're just going to figure it out from there? Is that what you're saying?
If tomorrow's starter has the career of Derek Law, it would be incredible. Derek Law is underrated. You know that.
Well, I meant Derek Law is in the aspect of Major League Baseball. Let's all be clear that you could throw any major league pitcher. Spires, who struggled of recent, would be a superstar.
I think Spires would probably be a better call.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on, the disrespect around here. All right. Anything else to note from your perspective here? I don't know if you got a chance to watch much of the game, but any final thoughts here before we let you get back to enjoying your beautiful, what looks like a beautiful day in northeast Ohio as they roll out the nets for batting practice?
Yeah, absolutely perfect day here. It's as good as it gets this late in the year up here. This is a hitter's ballpark, so let's see. Maybe the Dragons can get a couple guys on base. Maybe Cam Collier can come up with that big 3-run homer and kind of flip this series. But I'm excited. Really great energy. I mean, fans aren't even here yet, but you just like the Lake County, their personnel, they're excited about this game. So this is fun. I'm excited. Looking forward to it. Hopefully I'm back here tomorrow night.
All right. If you're back there tomorrow night, we'll be back in the same ritual that we are here as well. So, Nick, as always, thanks for coming on, trying to shine some light on what has been relatively a disappointing, not only just a disappointing season, but a pretty tough watch for the Major League club today. So, anything else? You, as always, follow Nick Kirby online tonight, and I'm sure you will get plenty of updates on the, I want to call it the Dayton Dragons game. I know Lake County, it's in Lake County, but it's the Dayton Dragons game for us, even though that the Captains had the best record in the league, or at least had the better record than the Dayton Dragons, and that's why they're hosting the last 2 games for those that are curious. So, all right, Nick, enjoy your time in the sun out there.
All right, fellas.
All right, see you. All right, well, he's gonna eat that up. I would love to see the Dragons win, just to, if nothing else, see a winner-take-all game against 2 teams that were kind of spouting off against each other towards the end of that game. I don't know if I know I brought it up to Nick yesterday. I didn't know if the broadcast picked it up or not, but there was a pretty big, scuffle, if you want to call it that, right when the game had ended on the Game 1 series between Lake County and Dayton. And then obviously now they have to play the final 2 games. My guess is the intensity is going to be pretty high. It's playoff baseball, and Daytona obviously has playoff baseball as well. So you going to be tuning into that, Craig, or you got some other plans?
Well, we've got Chatterbox Bengals at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, so that'll take my my attention for part of the game. But I'll do my best to, if nothing else, follow Nick on Twitter and see what's going on. To his point, Dylan DeLucia, who's going for the Captains tonight, he does have a 2.55 ERA on the year, but his ERA in away games 1.53, his ERA in home games 4.05. So to Nick's point, let's see if we can't get some runs on the board and get this to a decisive Game 3 and see if the Dragons can advance.
People asking how to watch the game. You can go to MILB.com and you can kind of find the TV there. And I think it's like $3 for a month's subscription. So, I mean, it's nothing crazy. If you also have like MLB TV, it comes with MILB. So I don't know if you have that or not, but there's a multitude of options to be able to watch that as well. So we have more baseball, Craig, to be played. I don't know if you got a chance to see the probable starters yet up in what would be Minnesota. I think it's that's where we're headed next.
That's right. Reds travel to Minnesota. They play Friday at 8:10 p.m. Eastern time. Last I checked, the Reds starter is still to be determined, but they will go up against Bailey Ober. Ober in 27 starts this year is 12-6 with a 3.77 ERA. Over his last 2 games, 13 innings pitched, only 2 hits, 1 run, 15 strikeouts. That includes a 7-inning, 1-hit performance against Kansas City last week. That did follow a blow-up game by Ober, though, when he faced Atlanta on August 26th. He went only 2 innings, 7 hits, 9 earned runs, 2 walks, and only 2 strikeouts. 2 career starts against the Reds, 9 1/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, 5 walks, but he's only faced 2 guys currently on the Reds roster. Ty France is 1 for 11 with 5 strikeouts, and Ahmed Rosario 1 for 10 with 6 strikeouts. So not a lot of experience going up against Bailey Ober, and we'll see what kind of performance Ober can throw out there against the Reds. This is somewhat of a big series for the Twins. They're hanging on to the last wild card spot in the AL. The Detroit Tigers just 3 games behind heading into tonight.
All right, and as Craig mentioned, his focus will be on Chatterbox Bengals. That is live tonight on our YouTube channel at 7 o'clock. Hillman, Jacob Tissett will be breaking down everything Bengals. I got a big game coming up, Craig. Pretty big one. I think there's a chance they bounce back, though. I gotta be honest. As a non-Bengals fan, there's a chance they bounce back, and oddly enough, in a weird way, if many fans probably expected to be 1-1 after 2 weeks, it might just come the way in which you didn't expect it to come. You never know. Some would say that's pretty good for the show.
Head to Kansas City for the national broadcast. Zach Taylor, one of only a handful of coaches with a career winning percentage against Andy Reid. So
you got nuggets everywhere. You had the nugget of maybe the month here on Chatterbox Reds when you just dropped the fact that this guy in single A has had a 1 ERA on the road, but then drops he's got a 4.5 ERA at home. He's pitching at home, so you never know. That was listen, that's big league stuff right there on a minor league kind of talking point. So there's that.
Absolutely. You know me, really follow those minor leaguers really closely. So.
Yeah, you and me both. I mean, what a show to be talking about minor league baseball. But hey, I just want to say, as always, like the stream if you haven't already. Podcast will be ready to go tomorrow. I'm sure Nick won't take a day off with that, as he always does. And for Craig and myself, we appreciate you. Hopefully, Craig, we'll see you here in just a little bit on Chatterbox Bengals. That will start at 7 o'clock, as always. Thank you for watching, and go Reds.